You know, the book of Acts in the Bible is one of the most wonderful books. We see normal men and women doing mighty, mighty things for God under the power of the Holy Spirit, and just what God is able to do when our lives are surrendered to Him. And I have a word of encouragement for you today, and it's simply this. There is a time limit. There is a time limit to what you are facing, to what you are going through. Now, we've heard this said before, but maybe you feel like you're going through a prison. I want to tell you there's a time limit to things, but also I want you to notice something, that the prison that we think we may be in is not necessarily bad. What am I talking about? In the book of Acts, we see Paul the apostle preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ and going through so many trials, so many tribulations. He went through beatings, he went through stonings, he went through shipwreck, he went through hunger, he went through lack, he went through very, very difficult times. It's phenomenal to me when I read what Paul went through and how faithful he remained in all of it to preach the gospel. And towards the end of his ministry, Paul went into prison for quite some time. And I thought, when I read about it, I thought, years or some time ago, years ago actually, I read about it, of course you read about it all the time, but this particular instance, I was reading about it, and I thought to myself, and I spoke in my spirit, I want to say, and I asked the Lord, how is it that Paul went through so much, and still at the end of his life, he was in prison? And the Holy Spirit spoke with me. Paul went through all these beatings, through all these difficulties, through all the stonings, the sufferings, for the sake of the gospel, preaching the gospel. When he went to prison, it looked like a bad thing. But he was not put in a common prison. Because he was a Roman citizen, he was put in a prison, and there was more like a house arrest type prison. He had his own dwelling place. And the Holy Spirit spoke with me and showed me that during the time that Paul was in prison, quote unquote, he had 3 square meals every day, something he didn't have before whilst he was preaching the gospel. People had access to come to him, to visit him, and he could preach the gospel. He had a roof over his head when it rained. He had a comfortable bed to sleep in. As I said, 3 meals a day. People could come and visit him and hear the gospel. They would come to him to hear the gospel. He had a centurion or a captain or a soldiers, a guard of soldiers that would look after him and protect him. So I want to say this to you today. Maybe what you are going through, maybe what you are facing feels like a prison. But just slow down, go before the Holy Spirit and let Him open your eyes. Maybe it's not a prison. Maybe it's a place where He's protecting you. Maybe it's a place where He's preparing you. Maybe it's a place where He's molding you, shaping you. Maybe it's a place where He's giving you rest. Maybe it's a change of perspective that is needed, and not a change of place. A change of perspective instead of a change of place or position. And I just want to encourage you with that today. Stop, slow down, get to the Holy Spirit and say, show me this thing that has been so heavy upon me. Maybe, just maybe, I've thought that I've been through so much. Now I'm in a prison, quote unquote. But just maybe it is a place where God is giving you rest. It is a place where God is looking after you. It is a place where He's providing for you. It's a place where He's restoring you. A change of place oftentimes is more needed. A change of perspective oftentimes is more needed than a change of place. God bless you.